All right, you all, we are back with some gems for our nonprofit founders, leaders, and organizations. We are all very well aware that the nonprofit model thrives on volunteers. Your board of directors may be volunteers, your committee members are usually volunteers, and even your members are usually made up of volunteers. Every so often, you may want to show your gratitude to your volunteers by offering to buy them lunch or paying for their parking or even giving them a gift card of some sort. Seemingly, there's not much to consider outside of whether the organization can afford to do so. But I'm here to tell you, this topic can get more complicated than you think. So how much appreciation is too much?
Feel my faith rising. I'm crawling out the trenches, holding me. My life.
Welcome back to my channel. My name is Maresa Talbert. I'm the founder and CEO of Talbert Law Office, your favorite go-to legal resource for all things business, nonprofit, and intellectual property law. There are several factors that must be taken into consideration to minimize legal risk when it comes to your nonprofit volunteers. And today, I'm going to help you stay out of trouble when it comes to volunteer compensation, stipends, and other monetary benefits. So let's jump right into it. I'm not going to get too deep into the woods to define a volunteer. We all have a general understanding of what a volunteer is. But just to give us a general baseline, our understanding of the volunteer relationship is going to be based on service without the expectation of pay. Okay? So the real question is, can you offer your volunteers a little extra cash, a little stipend, or other monetary benefits based on their service in your organization? And of course, the legal answer is, it depends. So the law does allow for volunteers to receive nominal compensation and reasonable benefits. However, according to the Department of Labor, if a volunteer is paid more than $500 total in 1 year, or more than 20% of what a typical employee would be paid for the same service, that volunteer is now an employee. And we already know what happens when you misclassify employees. If you don't, check out my other video where I talk about the misclassification of employees versus independent contractors. I'll link it up above and in the description box below. Moral of the story is you don't want them problems. The second secret that you need to know is that when you provide certain stipends, your volunteer may have to report that on their taxes. According to the IRS, even $25 gift cards that are given to volunteers are known as taxable events. I don't think your volunteer would appreciate that at all. You want to know another secret? Right now, the Volunteer Protection Act protects your volunteer from liability for their actions because they're a volunteer. But if you blur that line by giving them a stipend or other financial compensation, you may be putting them at risk to be held responsible and liable for claims made against them in their capacity as a volunteer. They no longer get the benefit of that Volunteer Protection Act. So you, or better yet, your volunteers, have to weigh those pros and cons. Is it worth the headache? Now, if you do implement a stipend program, which is possible to do, keep these things in mind. Number one, never pay more than 20% of what an employer would pay an employee for the same service. Number two, ensure that the stipends are not based on the performance of services or a volunteer's productivity. That creates an employer-employee relationship. And as such, stipends should not vary when they're being given to volunteers. And number three, make it very clear to your volunteer that if they are paid more than $500, total within 1 year that they will lose that protection under the Volunteer Protection Act because they have now become an employee and they are governed by the Federal Labor Standards Act. The moral of the story is y'all better be careful out here in these nonprofit streets. Now, there are more tips related to volunteers that I did not cover, such as ensuring that your organization maintains the proper amount of insurance in case one of your volunteers injures themselves. If you would like to ensure that your organization is maintaining legal compliance, seek out professional help. You can even schedule a consultation with Talbert Law Office in the link below. For now, that is all I have for this video. Give me your feedback in the comments and let me know how your volunteer programs are growing. Until next time, this is Talbert Law Office, your favorite go-to legal resource for all things business, nonprofit, and intellectual property law. I'll see you in the next video.
I done made it this far.